welcome to Tech to Tech presented by KYZEN, where we will explore common cleaning questions and answers. Let's get started. I would like to introduce KYZEN's own Stephen Griffith.
Thanks, William, and thanks everybody for joining me today for today's Tech to Tech session. Today we're going to be looking at vapor versus vacuum degreasings, and this is going to be a little bit different than most of the Tech to Techs that you've seen before. I took a little bit different approach, and I'm looking at, some key considerations that a company should use when they are looking at purchasing a new machine, whether that's replacing an old vapor degreaser or just a whole new process in which you guys are looking at setting up inside your facility. That's what we're going to look at, some of the key considerations from what I've heard from other engineers and facilities in my time in the field. Like I said just a second ago, this Tech to Tech is going to be focused on the decision-making process for businesses that are deciding on which system would be best at the business. We're going to take a 10,000 foot view and look at some long-term costs versus the regulations and engineering challenges for both systems. Some key considerations for the section, when we're deciding between these kind of two systems, you got to consider the geometry of the part that you're washing, the throughput that you need for your facility, the regulations, both state, local, and federal regulations, and then long-term operating cost. Because if you don't consider all those things when purchasing a new machine and making the capital investment that you're going to have to, a misaligned decision today could cost massively for your business down the road. Just a quick overview of the vapor degreasing process. It's been the backbone in the industry for a long time. It works well especially for general cleaning of parts. But the efficiency of vapor degreasing is highly dependent on the complexity of your part. Many of the solvents that have been used for years in vapor degreasing are now banned or being phased out. So businesses are trying to get ahead of that. And now the good thing is there are new solvents on the market that are compliant with the EPA and FDA regulations. But the problem with them is they're exceedingly expensive comparatively to what we're used to in the compared to the TCEs and stuff. So that's been a real shock for most engineers and businesses when they have to come and get a compliant solvent. So looking at the pros and cons, vapor systems are a little more cost effective than vacuum systems. They have a fewer moving parts, but the solvent loss in a vapor degreaser is much higher than it is than a vacuum system, a closed sealed system. So you run into the regulatory restrictions there as well for the safety of your employees. And then so facilities that are looking for a long-term decision might look at another process or going away from this, but it's still a very effective cleaning, and the new systems especially are much tighter than they used to be, and as long as they're well-maintained systems, it's a great process to have inside your facility. So vacuum systems, they're engineered, to have maximum solvent containment. Sealed systems that, boast upwards of 98% solvent recovery. So very, very little solvent loss. It's quickly becoming the standard for the industry for all, manufacturing and as a whole for precision cleaning. Got very good process control within it. You have very clean, very dry parts when they come out of the wash, but the cycle times are longer than vapor degreasing. The footprint of most of the vacuum degreasers are much larger. So if footprint is a concern, then it's going to be harder for you to go to a vacuum system over a vapor system if that's what you're used to, especially. Um, you know, like I said, these are great, but none of that comes for free because a vacuum system on average is 2 to 3 times more costly than a vapor system for your off-the-shelf units. Like I said just a few seconds ago, they excel at solvent containment and compliance. So if you're looking at employee safety, especially, or future-proofing your um, wash bath and you're sticking to solvents, vacuum degreasing is the way to go. The hydrocarbon solvent and the modified alcohol solvent's nowhere on any list and for going away anytime soon. So, but like we talked about earlier, higher upfront capital. It's more complex of a machine, so your comfortability for your maintenance guys and and the general maintenance and the PEs, you're going to need some um, training and it takes a significant amount of time for you guys to really learn those machines. But once you do, they run for a long time as well. Cost often is the deciding factor. Vapor systems have much lower upfront costs, but higher solvent usage over time. And then vacuum systems are much more expensive initially, but can save money through a solvent recovery and compliance savings over time. So even though you're spending more upfront, a lot of times I've seen businesses be able to do a simple calculator or return on investment ROI kind of thing and easily show the return on investment there over vapor. But vapor is still a great option for businesses that don't want to put that much capital up front and don't mind spending a little bit more on their solvent, and then they maintain those machines well. They're great machines as well. One thing to mention is the solvent management portion of it as well. Um, most vapor degreasing systems do not have a internally built still, so you have to that cleans up the solvents. So you usually have to buy an external unit that does it. KYZEN here at KYZEN, we created a unit called the capture unit, and it continuously distills the solvent from the machines and keeps them clean. Otherwise, you get quick soil load inside of a vapor system because the oil just drops in and it has a hard time, even though they have pumps and filters on I guess all units, but you really need to distill the solvent back off. Vacuum systems, the cool thing about that is they have integrated stills inside their system, and it's continuously distilling the solvent, so you have clean solvent always. So to wrap this up, both vapor and vacuum systems have their place. Vapor systems are straightforward and proven over the years. They're definitely less expensive up front, but with solvent loss and the cost of the new solvents these days and regulations that are coming and have come over the last couple of years, uh, it could be limiting over time for vapor systems. Vacuum systems are definitely a heavier investment, but they give you the solvent efficiency, the safety and compliance that your health and safety guys want. And a lot of times that does make them more appealing in for a long-term play for cleaning. But it comes with the trade-offs of the floor space, the upfront investment, and the longer cycle time. So ultimately, your choice should be based on the complexity of your part, the throughput that you need, and then where you see your business headed as far as an environmental concern happens. Well, some frequently asked topics that we get, uh, how do long-term solvent costs compare between vapor and vacuum? Uh, what we're seeing now with the new vapor degreasers, the new chemistry is roughly almost triple the cost of vacuum uh, degreasing solvents. So quite a bit more expensive. What's the ROI timeline that can be expected? That's going to be highly dependent on your process. You're going to have to do a calculator depending on your throughput and the need that you have before you'll be able to make that calculation. So, which process is better for compliance for the upcoming regulations? Definitely vacuum, both for your employee safety as well as the air guidelines for environmental. And then if you don't need the complexity of a vacuum degreasing system, is vapor still something to look at that's economical? It's getting pricier. I think a well-maintained machine can still be very efficient with the solvents, but you're still going to have more no matter how well the system's maintained. And with the cost of the new solvents, it's getting increasingly more difficult. So, well, with that, I will turn everything back over to William.
Thanks, Stephen. Thank you guys for watching this Tech to Tech session. If you would like to discuss this topic further or have any questions not answered in the session, please contact your local KYZEN Regional Manager or send an email to tech@KYZEN.com, and we will have someone follow up with you as soon as possible. And if you like this video, be sure to follow us on our social media platforms for more expert cleaning content.